Everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 9-game NBA slate. We have a massive amount of injuries to look at here today for DraftKings and FanDuel. Both slates are the same. We have really solid options. Pricing's pretty good today. There's going to be a lot of value options on the table, so finding guys to pay up for is actually going to be the key today. Also, deciding which value plays to utilize. So with that said, let's get injury report. So for the Jazz, Olynyk is questionable and Sexton is out. For the Cavs, Wade and Stevens are out. For the Raptors, Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Porter, and Achua are out. For the 76ers, Maxey's out. For the Magic, Carter Jr., Suggs, Harris, and Okeke are out. For the Hawks, Murray and Collins are questionable and Capella is out. For the Bucks, Middleton is out. For the Pelicans, Nance and Ingram are out. For the Spurs, Richardson is out and Keldon Johnson is questionable. For the Rockets, Tate is out. For the Mavs, Doncic, Hardaway Jr., Powell are all questionable and Cleaver is out. For the Timberwolves, Towns is out and Gobert and Reed are both questionable. For the Trailblazers, Grant is questionable. For the Thunder, Shea Alexander, Giddey, Robinson, Earl, Mann, and Baisley are all out. For the Lakers, Davis is out, and Beverly and Gabriel are questionable. For the Suns, Booker and Ayton are questionable, and Payne and Cam Johnson are out. And for the Hornets, Smith Jr. and Rozier are both questionable. So that's what we have today for the injury report. Quite a lot of injuries. The Thunder really opens up a lot of options at the all positions with all their players. Their most expensive player on this slate is Lou Dort at $5,500, so we're definitely gonna have to scrape the bottom of the barrel for some of those guys. But some of them actually look decent today. So let's go and get in my core plays though. So we're gonna start with De'Aaron Fox. The last couple games he's really been playing well, and I expect that to continue here. He had a little bit of a slump earlier this month, but his price has come down quite a bit, and he has some really nice upside in this really plus matchup. The last two games in plus matchups, he's played really well. So he had a stretch of tough games, and now that he's back against easier teams, he's just dominating. So I really like him today. We're also going to look at Lou Dort for Oklahoma City. He's the only guy that's even over $5,000, I think, for Oklahoma City today. He's going to have all the minutes he can handle, and he's going to have plenty of opportunity to score a lot of points in this one. I think he's a pretty good price point for that. Thomas Bryant is going to be starting again for the Lakers with Davis out. His price didn't jump up that much, surprisingly, so he's very viable on the slate again. He had 33 fantasy points yesterday. I expect him to have a similar outcome today, hopefully a double-double. Yesterday he also had a game-winning dunk near it with 4 seconds to go. And then finally, Domantas Sabonis. He's just been playing extremely well lately. His price point has popped up some more, but he's still viable on the slate, and he's going to have to dominate for the Kings to get a win here. And he has a good opportunity to do so with Fox playing as well as he is as well. Both these guys tend to go hand in hand, and so I expect them to have a really big game today. So then for other players, we're going to start at point guard here, and we're going to look at Malachi Flynn for Toronto. Now he's been playing more minutes with Trent Jr. out, and I expect that to continue here. You'll see in the past that he's had some games in the same situation. So I expect somewhere between 28 and 33 minutes in this game, which gives him a viable option to do well at only $3,100. Obviously, guys like that are still super risky, but he is viable on the slate. Markelle Fultz here for Orlando, also a good option. He's been playing pretty solidly. He has some big time upside, though his floor is pretty low. He's been playing well, though, back with Orlando, and they still have a decent chunk of injuries, so his minutes are pretty safe. Then we'll look at Dennis Schroeder. Now, I think he's one of the weaker options due to his price when it comes to value plays, but he's still viable. He's just a defensive first player, but I expect him to have a pretty decent game here. I also look at Westbrook as a possible opportunity as well. His price is still just too cheap, though it is a plus matchup, and he's going to have more minutes probably in this game than he did yesterday. Then we'll look at Isaiah Joe for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, he's $4,000, so that doesn't make him as viable, but he's actually been pretty solid lately. and when he's been able to get minutes, and he should get plenty of minutes in this game with so many dudes out for Oklahoma City. Then we'll look at Aaron Wiggins, who's another guy who is viable if he ends up starting, and he's been playing pretty well lately. He is a little bit more risky than some of the guys on Oklahoma City, but he does have upside just the same. Then we'll look at Jalen Green for Houston at $7,000. He's been playing pretty well lately. He's been pretty consistent most of the season, but his price has popped up a lot. And so that is, he's not super ideal, but in a slate where we need to find more value, more expensive plays, he's a viable option. Then Eric Gordon for Houston, also a good play here at $3,700. His very boomer bust because he is scoring dependent, but he's been having a lot of good games, and he should be viable on the slate in a plus matchup. Then we'll look at Umari for Oklahoma City. Now, he's an interesting position because he really has only played in a handful of games so far this season and only played a couple games over 20 minutes. But he should get 20 minutes today with all the injuries, and that makes him a viable play. But he is a little bit risky as a result. Same goes for Kendrick Williams. He's at $4,100. He's going to get plenty of minutes in this one, but he is very inconsistent, and even with a lot of minutes, sometimes he doesn't do much. But he is viable on this one. And then Pokuveski for Oklahoma City as well. He might be one of the safer options. The only downside with him is that he's less likely to have a massive game than some of the other guys. But he has been viable, and he does have double-double potential. So I still think he's viable, but he's still a little bit risky. Then Harrison Barnes here for Sacramento. He looks like he's been playing really well lately, especially with Fox playing well. He's going to have some more upside in this matchup, and with the injuries on the Kings, some guys haven't been playing well lately. He's going to have a good opportunity. Also going to look at LeBron James here with Davis out. He's going to have to carry more of the offense, and yesterday he did really well. Didn't get any double-doubles yesterday, but he had 9 assists and 7 rebounds and a block. I expect a similar output today. Obviously, he's going to have to play really well in order to have a chance to beat Phoenix today, but I expect him to come up and try to smash in this game. And so if he can do that, then he'll definitely have a good opportunity to 5x on the slate, and we're going to have to find some guys to pay up for. So that's what I have on DraftKings. I think it's a pretty good slate. The pricing is decent, and there's plenty of good opportunities to get value plays. Then let's go here, FanDuel. We're going to start with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Both these guys have been playing extremely well lately. Obviously, Fox had an injury that he's back from now, and so he's playing pretty solid. And same with Sabonis. He's been playing extremely well, and when Fox is playing well, he even does better. And his price point, while it's not super ideal here on FanDuel, is still viable and a good play on the slate where there's not a lot of good options at the power forward / center position. So for other guys that I do like here today, Isaiah Joe is somebody that I think is viable, though his price point is a little bit higher here on FanDuel than DraftKings. In games where he's getting over 20 minutes, he's played really well so far this season, and I expect that to continue here. But he's not a lock like he might be on DraftKings simply because of his price not being as ideal. LaMelo Ball also looks really interesting here on FanDuel rather. He's played really solid in the few games he's played this season, and he isn't gonna he doesn't look like he's gonna hurt you too much in this particular slate. So I definitely like him here on this one. Then we're going to look at Aaron Wiggins for Oklahoma City. He's been playing pretty solid lately. I do like him in this matchup, especially considering the fact his price is pretty cheap, and he's been playing a decent chunk of minutes with all the injuries to Oklahoma City. Same for Malachi Flynn. He's been playing well for Toronto off the bench the last couple games. With his price point going so low, assuming that Trent Jr. and everybody's still out, which it looks like they will be, he's going to have opportunity in this game. He played 37 minutes last game against Golden State, and I look for a similar type of situation here against Philadelphia. Then we'll look at Kendrick Williams, who for Oklahoma City has been pretty decent when he does get minutes, but he is a little bit up and down, and so I do think he is a little bit risky. But he should get quite a bit of minutes today with all the injuries to the team, and this will be his second game back. Then Eugenio Amori, excuse me for butchering your name. He's played really well the last 2 games in limited minutes. He's only played in a handful of games all season long, but in the games that he's got that over 20 minutes, he's done really well, and I look for him to get plenty of minutes in this one with all the injuries. Lou Dort is also a viable play on this slate, only he's not as viable here on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings simply because of his price, but he's going to have all the minutes he can handle in this one and all the shot attempts he wants. He is the best player available for Oklahoma City. And then Alec Pokusevski, he is also viable for Oklahoma City today at $5,500. Obviously, not nearly as viable here on FanDuel that he is on DraftKings, but he's still somebody to take a look at if you need to get a center position player. And then Harrison Barnes, his price point seems a little bit cheap for what he's been doing lately. He's had some ups and downs this season, but he's been playing well as of late, and he's been getting some peripheral stats, which definitely helps him as well. So, with that said, guys, that's what I have for the DraftKings and FanDuel. Let's get into my picks for each game. I have the Cavs over the Jazz. I have the 76ers over the Raptors. I have the Magic over the Hawks, the Bucks over the Pelicans, the Rockets over the Spurs, the Mavs over the Timberwolves, the Trailblazers over the Thunder, the Suns over the Lakers, and the Kings over the Hornets. So with that said, guys, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and have a nice day, guys.